Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts for Vechain, see what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. Okay, guys, let's get into this. Okay, so Vechain paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source. Now, obviously, we were talking a fair amount recently about Vechain and how low we think things can likely to go, and it's actually held up remarkably well considering everything that's been going on with Bitcoin recently. And we can see that we came right back down to our first accumulation zone of 4.62 to 4.67. So again, even if we were accumulating prior, right back at this sweet spot is where we are now. Now, I am expecting Vechain to fall down even lower. I'm expecting it to be somewhere between the ranges of 4.2 and 4.3, but it also has the ability to go down as low as 4 cent right now. So what we want to do is we need to acknowledge what this pattern is looking like, what this, how low this is likely to go, and then ultimately where we think it's going to go next. Now, essentially what we've got going on here, if I actually grab hold of my trend line here, I'm going to actually just lighten this up for a second. We've basically end up with this pattern here, which is basically almost like a triangular wedge. And so considering this could be a fourth wave move, this could be an area of a Elliott wave triangle, fourth wave correction before we have a fifth wave come on down. So essentially it looks like we are likely to have that next pullback. Now, when we actually draw this up, we obviously have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we come down for 5. Okay, so we have a 5-wave move. Now, there's not many corrective patterns that start with 5 waves. There are some that end with 5 waves, but if they start with 5 waves like this, essentially what we're looking at here is either a 5, 3. I can actually draw a 3. So I'll try that again. 3, 5. Okay, which is basically a corrective pattern here. Okay. Or alternatively, what we would have is a 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, which is an impulsive structure, which would be a trend. Okay, so this is a trend-based pattern, whereas this one is a corrective. Okay, so very, very different. Not that I can do an E here at all. Writing is so awful today. But basically, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at here. So essentially what we have is, in my opinion, a corrective pattern and not a trend-based pattern. So let me just go ahead and delete all that off of the chart here. Not that I can draw today. It's going to be one of those days I feel today, but we'll get there. So let's go ahead and just remove these, and what we'll do is we'll get on with this. So essentially what we have is that 5-wave structure. I think it's going to be a 5, 3, 5, which means we can be a little bit more predictive over where it's going to go once we have the bounce. What we can do, of course, is take this recent low, take this high point just up here, and again we can measure out where this is likely to go from a most probable area. Okay, the most probable area for this 5th wave retracement is going to be this little yellow box area here. This is basically 4.4 to 4.5 cent. Okay, so right inside that little sweet spot there. I'm not going to mark it up too much, but I'm going to actually draw on the waves instead, and that help us understand where this is likely to go. So as I said, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's going to be 5. Then after this, I would expect a bounce up. Okay, now Bitcoin should bounce up. I reckon it's probably going to stop at about 37.5K from the lows of about 34.9. So in the case of Vechain here, I would expect us to move up a little bit here, but then look at back and we've got major resistance right across here. So I'm expecting that we will find it really hard to push past this little level right there. Okay, this being about 4.9 cents. So I imagine that that's going to be our limit on what we see as a bounce, and then we're going to look for another pullback down. Okay, now if we were to take the extreme corrective pattern from here to here, grab that up there, move this over to the resistance line, then we will be looking to come right down into this low range down here, I don't know why that's on there twice. Let me remove that. About 4.032, but basically our 4.056 is going to be the sweet spot here, I think, for accumulation. Okay, that would actually mark the end of this entire corrective pattern, and we should then start to look for a move up. Now, the reason behind this, we take a look at the momentum behind the price. The stochastic RSI is nice and high on this hourly chart, so we should be thinking about some kind of pullback down. This is basically telling us there's a fifth wave coming. Okay, essentially after that is done, we take a look at the 4-hourly. We're already oversold. The 8-hourly almost oversold. This next pullback for Vechain should hopefully get this 8-hourly into the oversold position. Once that is done, we should look for that bounce to the upside, as I said, about 4.9 cent approximately. And then we pull back down. Pulling back down should lower our daily stochastic RSI from those higher ranges down to those lower ranges. Again, we want to be, it's more gradual about it. We don't want it to be a fast price drop. And again, in doing so, that weekly stochastic RSI will also get corrected. Essentially, the correction here for Vechain is not over yet, and there's a fair amount of work to do on these larger time frames, whereas the smaller time frames are looking for some kind of short-term bounce. Okay, short-term bounce on the smaller time frames, but ultimately bigger drop coming down on the larger time frames. So Vechain's got this accumulation zone kind of marked out, something we've been talking about for a while, but we are refining it now as time progresses. We can see the additional moves that are happening here, and we can be a little bit more surgical about where we think these are likely to kind of go. So my next kind of moves, guys, is to kind of come down into these low ranges of about 4.4 to 4.5 cents, and then from here we are likely to move up, in my opinion, to 4.9 before potentially pulling all the way down towards 4 cent. We ideally want to stay above 3.9, which I think is a high point all the way over here. Okay, want to stay above this if possible. However, you know, at some point it's also possible that we don't, and we essentially basically can stay in this range. But I think for the most part, we would like to stay above that point. I'm not overly too concerned if we drop down lower at this stage. This is all about accumulation, so the lower the prices go, the kind of better. But we want to be geared up for a big, the ability to kind of sell off high and buy back down cheaper, so that we can continue to build those positions and ahead of the next kind of big surge upwards, right? Which I do think is around the corner. So essentially, yeah, look forward to kind of this bounce upwards. We can treat that as a short-term opportunity, and then look for accumulation a little bit lower within these ranges. If you're in our Patreon services, I will be updating our buy zones for the various different altcoins on Monday, so I'll let this kind of play out for a bit longer, and then I'll update the document on Monday, just with all the recent buy zones as well. So guys, if you have found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.